When most men think about what women desire, they rush to the obvious answers: good looks, height, money, or charm. They imagine that the foundation of attraction is something external and visible. But here's the truth most men never hear. Women may be intrigued by those things at first, but what truly captures them and keeps them close is something deeper, quieter, and more enduring. It is not about the muscles or the car, but about how safe she feels when she is with you. It is the security you create in her heart, not the image you project to the world, that makes you unforgettable. Emotional security means she knows she can open up without being judged or mocked. It is the feeling that her words are not falling on deaf ears, but are being held and understood. When she comes to you with her fears, frustrations, or even her tears, she isn't testing your patience. She is testing your depth. And in that moment, she is searching for the assurance that you won't withdraw, that you won't minimize her feelings, that you won't treat her emotions like a burden. What she craves is the stability of a man who listens, not to reply, but to understand. This doesn't mean you have to fix her problems or carry her every weight. Emotional security is not about rescuing her. It's about standing beside her with steadiness. A man who can say, "I hear you, I see you, I understand you," without turning away, becomes a rare treasure in her eyes. In a world where so many people listen to respond or to defend themselves, the man who listens with empathy shines differently. He is not controlled by ego, but grounded in presence, and that presence is magnetic. Think about it when she is with you. Does she feel more anxious or more calm? Does she second-guess herself, or does she relax into her truest form? Emotional security is measured not in grand gestures, but in the little signals you send every day, the tone in your voice when you disagree, the patience you show when she explains herself, the way you handle moments of tension. These are the silent indicators that tell her whether she can trust you with her heart. And once a woman feels she can trust you, no other man compares. Many men underestimate how powerful consistency is. Women want to know that your mood won't shift like the wind, that you won't lash out one day and withdraw the next. Emotional security is built when your behavior is steady enough that she doesn't have to walk on eggshells around you. She doesn't have to wonder which version of you she will meet today. Instead, she knows that the same calm, strong, and attentive man will show up. And this predictability doesn't make you boring. It makes you safe, and safe is attractive. Now, let's be honest, most men are never taught how to create this kind of safety. They are told to be strong, but not how to be emotionally present. They are told to provide financially, but not how to provide reassurance. Yet over and over, women will tell you it's not the gifts, not the dinners, not the appearance that makes them stay. It's the peace they feel in your presence. And peace is a kind of wealth that money can never buy. If you can give her peace, you give her something priceless. To embody this, you don't have to become perfect or emotionless. In fact, part of emotional security is showing your own humanity in a balanced way. It means admitting when you're wrong without shame, expressing your feelings without aggression, and being honest even when it's uncomfortable. When a woman sees that you can handle your own emotions with maturity, she trusts that you can hold space for hers. That trust is the root of deep attraction, because it tells her she is safe to bring all of herself to you. The joy, the pain, and everything in between. Imagine a relationship where she doesn't feel the need to hide parts of herself, where she doesn't silence her opinions to avoid conflict, where she doesn't feel drained after spending time with you. That is the relationship every woman secretly longs for. And that is built not on appearance, but on the invisible structure of emotional safety. She doesn't dream of a perfect man who never makes mistakes. She dreams of a real man who makes her feel secure in spite of the world's chaos. And when you give her that, you stop being just a man, you become her safe place. So when you think about what women truly want, think beyond what meets the eye. Yes, they may appreciate your looks or your success, but these are only surface-level attractions. The deeper connection is forged in how you handle her emotions, how you show up in her vulnerable moments, how you make her feel when she's not dressed up or performing. At the core, she wants to know, can I trust you with my heart? If the answer is yes, you have already given her more than any gift or appearance ever could. Confidence is one of the most magnetic traits a man can carry, but many men misunderstand what true confidence really looks like. They think it's in the loud voice, the flashy car, the expensive watch, or the constant need to prove themselves. But what women actually respond to is something quieter, something steadier, something that doesn't need applause to exist. True confidence is not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the man who doesn't need the room to validate him in the first place. That subtle difference changes everything. When a man is truly confident, he is calm in his own presence. He does not shrink to make others comfortable, but neither does he puff up to dominate. He moves through life with the assurance that he is enough as he is, without having to force anyone to see it. Women are incredibly perceptive. They can sense the difference between a man who is grounded in himself and a man who is performing for attention. One draws her in with quiet strength, while the other repels her with insecurity dressed up as pride. Arrogance, on the other hand, is a mask for weakness. The arrogant man boasts, interrupts, and belittles others because deep down he fears he isn't enough. He tries to fill the silence with his own voice, thinking it will hide the emptiness he feels inside. But women are not fooled by this act. They see through the bragging, through the exaggeration, through the constant need for recognition. And instead of being drawn to it, they find it exhausting. A man who needs to prove he is powerful is already showing that he doubts he really is. Confidence is different because it doesn't scream, it whispers. A confident man doesn't need to announce his worth. It is evident in the way he stands, the way he looks into someone's eyes, the way he listens without needing to dominate the conversation. He knows that his presence is enough, that his energy carries weight without him forcing it. This kind of confidence creates respect, and respect creates attraction. Women may be impressed by arrogance for a moment, but they are moved by confidence for a lifetime. Consider how a confident man responds to challenges. He doesn't collapse under pressure, but he also doesn't overreact with aggression. Instead, he handles obstacles with composure, as if saying, "This may be difficult, but I trust myself to find a way." That trust in himself radiates outward, giving the people around him, including women, a sense of safety. Confidence is not just about believing you can handle the good moments. It is about showing you can handle the storms without losing yourself. That steadiness is deeply attractive because it speaks of strength that can be relied upon. Another mark of true confidence is humility. The arrogant man believes he knows everything, but the confident man has no shame in admitting what he doesn't know. He is open to learning, willing to grow, and never threatened by the success of others. Women notice this immediately. They see that he doesn't feel diminished by someone else's brilliance because he is secure in his own. And this humility is not weakness, it is the highest form of strength, because it shows he is not fragile in his ego. That balance makes him a partner she can admire, not just desire. Confidence also reveals itself in how a man treats others. A man who is grounded in himself has no need to belittle or compete with those around him. He treats people with respect, regardless of their status, because he is not trying to prove his superiority. Women pay close attention to these details. How you treat the waiter, how you treat your colleagues, how you treat strangers. These little interactions reveal whether your confidence is real or just a facade. And when it is real, it makes her trust that you will treat her with the same steady respect. Let's also understand that confidence is not about being fearless. It is about moving forward despite fear. The man who pretends he has no fears is often hiding from them. But the man who acknowledges his fears and still chooses courage, that is the man who impresses her. Women don't secretly want perfection. They want a man who has faced himself and still stands tall. Confidence is built in those quiet battles, in those choices to keep going, in those moments when you decide that you are capable even when doubt whispers otherwise. Ultimately, confidence without arrogance is magnetic because it creates space instead of tension. The arrogant man takes up space to feel important, but the confident man creates space for others to feel seen. He doesn't compete with her light, he encourages it. He doesn't dominate the conversation, he adds to it. He doesn't chase validation, he attracts respect naturally. And this is why women are drawn to him, not because he shouts about who he is, but because who he is speaks louder than words ever could. There is something undeniably magnetic about a man who knows where he is going in life. It isn't about already having everything figured out or being at the top of his game, but about moving with direction and intention. Women are not secretly searching for perfection. They are drawn to men who live with a sense of purpose. A man with purpose wakes up every day knowing that his life has meaning beyond the ordinary. He is not drifting aimlessly, waiting for life to happen to him. Instead, he is shaping his path and carving out a future that excites him. Purpose-driven living is powerful because it creates a sense of stability and vision. A woman feels drawn to a man who has goals, not because of what those goals may bring, but because of the energy behind them. Passion and drive are contagious. When she sees your fire, she feels inspired by it. This doesn't mean you have to be wealthy or famous. It means you have something you care deeply about and you are committed to it. Whether it's your career, your craft, or your calling, what matters is that you have direction. Women trust men who move with vision more than men who wander aimlessly. When a man has no direction, his energy feels scattered and unstable. He may seem charming at first, but soon his lack of focus begins to show. He avoids responsibility, makes excuses, and lives on autopilot. This leaves a woman feeling like she cannot build a future with him because there is no foundation under his feet. On the other hand, a man with purpose radiates a quiet assurance that he is building something meaningful. She doesn't have to agree with every dream he has, but she respects him for having them. And that respect turns into attraction because purpose is deeply masculine energy. A man with purpose also commands respect without demanding it. He doesn't need to beg for validation because his life itself becomes proof of his vision. He knows where he is headed, and that certainty creates gravity. Women feel safe around that energy because it signals reliability. They want to align with a man who isn't just chasing distractions, but is actually rooted in something solid. When he shares his dreams, she listens, not because of the dream itself, but because of the conviction with which he speaks. Conviction is powerful, and it makes her trust that he will not be easily swayed by life's challenges. Another aspect of living with purpose is discipline. Purpose is not just about what you want, it's about what you're willing to do consistently to achieve it. Women are deeply attracted to men who are disciplined, because discipline signals strength of character. It shows that you can delay gratification, that you can sacrifice for a higher goal, and that you are willing to push through discomfort for growth. A man who has discipline in his habits, his words, and his commitments radiates reliability. And reliability makes a woman feel she can depend on him, not just in small matters, but in life itself. Purpose also brings out passion, and passion is irresistible. A man who lights up when he talks about what he loves is captivating. It could be his art, his work, his vision, or even the way he invests in helping others. That fire in his eyes is more powerful than physical attraction because it shows life inside him. Women don't want a man who is merely existing. They are drawn to a man who is fully alive. When he is fueled by passion, he creates an energy that makes her want to be part of his journey. She isn't drawn to the outcome, she is drawn to the fire itself. What makes purpose-driven men stand out is that they inspire without trying. They don't force anyone to follow them, but their example naturally draws admiration. A woman watching a man pursue his dreams sees not just the outcome, but the courage it takes to keep moving. That courage is attractive because it shows strength, resilience, and leadership. Leadership here does not mean controlling others, it means leading yourself first. A man who can lead himself, his emotions, his choices, his path, earns the respect of a woman who longs for a partner she can trust to walk beside her with strength. Purpose also gives a man identity beyond relationships. Women do not want to be the sole center of a man's universe. They want to join a man whose world is already rich and meaningful. When a man has purpose, he is not desperate for validation from her because he already has a mission. That independence is attractive because it allows her to admire him without feeling the pressure of being his entire reason for existing. Ironically, the man who doesn't cling to her for meaning is the one she clings to because his purpose gives her a sense of being part of something bigger. At the core, purpose-driven living is about clarity and direction. A man who has a sense of purpose knows who he is becoming, and that confidence draws people toward him. Women sense the difference between a man drifting in uncertainty and a man moving with intentionality. They don't need him to have all the answers. They just need to see that he is moving forward with strength. Purpose makes him magnetic because it whispers to her, here is a man who can face life with vision, and that is the kind of man she can trust, admire, and follow. Respect is one of the most underrated qualities women secretly look for in a man. Too often, men think respect is about how they carry themselves in public or how they demand recognition from others. But women watch something much deeper. They pay attention to how you respect people who cannot give you anything in return, how you handle conflict, and how you treat her when no one is watching. Respect is not about words. It is about consistent actions that show integrity. A man who lives with respect doesn't need to announce it. His presence communicates it silently. When a woman observes how you treat people in everyday life, she is collecting evidence of your character. Do you raise your voice in frustration when things don't go your way, or do you handle yourself with calmness? Do you treat service workers with kindness, or do you belittle them to feel powerful? Do you interrupt others constantly, or do you listen with patience? These little behaviors may seem insignificant, but to her they reveal everything. She understands that the way you treat strangers is exactly how you might treat her once the excitement of romance fades away. Respect is not just about manners, it is about boundaries. A woman wants to know that you respect her time, her emotions, her body, and her individuality. When you listen without dismissing her feelings, you show that you value her inner world. When you honor her boundaries instead of pushing past them, you show that you understand the importance of consent. Respect is giving her the freedom to be herself without fear of judgment. This creates trust, and trust is the soil where real attraction grows. Without respect, no relationship can truly thrive. Emotional intelligence is the twin pillar that makes respect meaningful. A man may mean well, but if he cannot manage his own emotions, his respect will crumble under pressure. Emotional intelligence is about recognizing your feelings, regulating them, and expressing them in a way that builds connection instead of destroying it. Women are deeply attentive to how you react when you're angry, disappointed, or stressed. Do you explode, withdraw, or punish silently? Or do you express yourself calmly and honestly? The ability to manage emotions without harming others is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. Many men assume emotional intelligence is weakness, but in reality it is strength. It takes power to remain calm when provoked, to stay respectful when frustrated, and to choose kindness even when your pride is wounded. Women do not want men who bottle up emotions or pretend to be unshakable. They want men who are self-aware and balanced. When you can say, "I feel hurt," instead of lashing out, you show maturity. When you can admit you're wrong without defensiveness, you reveal courage. These moments of emotional honesty make her feel safe, because she knows you can handle both yourself and her heart. Emotional intelligence also means empathy, the ability to step into her shoes and see the world through her eyes. Women notice when you listen not just to her words, but to the emotions underneath them. When she talks about her day, she isn't always asking for solutions. Sometimes she's asking for connection. A man who can sense this and respond with empathy instead of impatience makes her feel understood. And when a woman feels understood, she feels valued. That feeling is rare, and that is why women deeply admire men who carry the gift of empathy. Respect and emotional intelligence work together to build consistency. Anyone can be kind in good times, but real character shows up under stress. A woman is not impressed by how sweet you are when you're happy. She is moved by how respectful you remain when you're frustrated. Do you blame her when things go wrong, or do you take responsibility for your part? Do you shut down communication, or do you find ways to express yourself constructively? Your behavior in these moments communicates whether she can truly trust you in the long run. Stability is attractive, and stability is born from emotional control. Another aspect women look for is how you respect yourself. Emotional intelligence is not only about managing others, it's about managing you. If you let people walk all over you, if you compromise your values to please others, or if you lack discipline in your own life, you show that you do not respect yourself. And if you cannot respect yourself, she cannot fully respect you either. Self-respect is magnetic because it shows boundaries, standards, and strength. When a man respects his time, his body, his goals, and his values, he radiates confidence without arrogance. That self-respect is what makes him worthy of admiration. At the heart of it, women are not searching for perfection. They are searching for presence. They are searching for a man who can remain respectful and emotionally intelligent, not just when life is easy, but when life is messy. They want a man who can navigate emotions without losing control, who can listen without dismissing, who can respect differences without feeling threatened. These qualities do not show up in grand gestures, they show up in the daily interactions, in the way you live your life, and in the way you treat people. Respect and emotional intelligence are not just attractive. They are irresistible. Charm may capture attention, but it is consistency that builds trust. Women know that words are easy to speak, but actions repeated over time are what reveal a man's true nature. A man may impress her once with a sweet gesture or powerful words, but what she is secretly watching for is whether he shows up again and again in the same way. Consistency is the bridge between attraction and trust. It tells her that you are not just putting on a performance to win her over, but that the man you show her is the man you truly are inside. When a man is consistent, his behavior aligns with his words. If he says he will call, he calls. If he promises to show up, he arrives. If he commits to a standard, he upholds it. This reliability may sound simple, but in a world filled with broken promises and temporary connections, it is rare. Women are constantly evaluating whether they can depend on you not only in small matters, but in the bigger ones that shape their future. Every time you follow through, you show her that her heart is safe with you. Consistency also builds emotional safety. Women often test not what you say when things are easy, but how you behave when things are difficult. If your love is loud in public but absent in private, she notices. If your patience is strong at the beginning but short-lived later, she feels it. Inconsistency creates doubt, and doubt weakens attraction. But when she sees that your words and actions align, no matter the circumstances, her heart relaxes. She learns that you are not unpredictable, and that reassurance makes her trust you even more deeply. Integrity is the other half of this picture. Integrity means that your values are not situational, but steady. You don't bend them just because it's convenient, and you don't compromise them for temporary gain. Women are drawn to men who stand by their principles even when no one is watching. She knows that if you are honest with others, you will be honest with her. She knows that if you treat people fairly in business, you will treat her fairly in love. Integrity is not about perfection. It is about honesty, courage, and accountability. A man with integrity does not fear being vulnerable about his mistakes. He does not hide behind excuses or shift blame when things go wrong. Instead, he owns his actions, corrects them, and learns from them. Women respect this far more than false bravado. They know that no man is perfect, but a man who can admit when he is wrong shows maturity. This honesty builds respect because it proves that his character is not shallow. Integrity is what turns mistakes into lessons instead of scars, and that humility makes him more trustworthy over time. Consistency and integrity together make a man predictable in the best possible way. Predictable not in the sense of being boring, but in the sense of being reliable. Women are not searching for constant surprises. They are searching for reassurance that your words carry weight. If today you are loving but tomorrow you are distant, she cannot rest in your presence. If today you honor your commitments, but tomorrow you disappear, she cannot feel secure. But when you are steady in your actions, she doesn't have to guess. That predictability makes her feel safe to open her heart fully. One of the most overlooked aspects of consistency is how you treat her when no one else is watching. Many men show affection in public but fail to maintain it privately. They speak beautifully when others are listening but grow careless in their daily actions. Women are intuitive, they pay attention to these shifts. They know that real love is not about big displays but about steady effort. It is in the text you send to check on her day, the patience you show during disagreements, and the promises you keep without reminders. These are the moments that matter most. Integrity also extends to how you treat yourself. If you cannot keep your own word to yourself, how can you keep it to her? A man who says he values discipline but never follows through on his commitments shows cracks in his character. Women respect men who live by their standards because it shows they are not swayed by every temptation. When you honor your own word, whether in your goals, your health, or your growth, you prove that your promises are not empty. A man with self-integrity radiates strength, and that strength reassures her that he can be trusted. Ultimately, consistency and integrity are not about being flawless, but about being real and reliable. They are about doing what you say you will do, living in alignment with your values, and showing up even when it's inconvenient. Women do not secretly crave perfection, they crave security, and security is built on trust. Trust is born when your actions match your words again and again over time. A man who embodies consistency and integrity becomes more than attractive. He becomes unforgettable because he gives her something priceless: peace of mind.